She expected me to argue, not agree. The words left her mouth casually, like a challenge she thought I'd fail. If you don't like me, you can leave. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't try to fix it. I just said, okay. Her expression didn't change right away. That was the part that stayed with me, because she didn't think I meant it. My name is Nolan Prescott, and up until that moment, I had built my entire life around making things work. We lived in a polished townhouse in Scottsdale, Arizona, the kind of place that looked perfect from the outside. White walls, soft lighting, curated furniture. Everything looked intentional. Everything except us. Vivian Aldridge had a way of making everything feel temporary, even when it wasn't. She moved through life like nothing could really stay. Not friendships, not jobs, not even me. At first, I thought it was confidence. Then I thought it was independence. Eventually, I realized it was distance. The kind you can't close no matter how hard you try. Our arguments never started loud. They started with small things. A comment, a tone, a look that lingered just a second too long. That night, it was about something stupid. Dinner. I had made reservations at a place she used to love. She looked at the confirmation email and sighed. You always pick the same places. I tried to laugh it off. I thought you liked it. That was a year ago, Nolan. The way she said my name felt like a correction, not a connection. We sat across from each other, the table between us feeling wider than it should. She checked her phone more than she looked at me. I watched her, trying to find the version of her I used to know. The one who would lean in. The one who would smile without thinking about it. But that version felt like a memory I wasn't allowed to access anymore. Back at the townhouse, the tension didn't go away. It followed us through the door, through the hallway, into the living room. You've been distant, I said, finally breaking the silence. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. I've been distant. Yes. You're the one who's always trying too hard. That one landed deeper than I expected. Trying too hard. Like caring was something to be embarrassed about. Is that a bad thing? I asked. It's exhausting. That word stayed in the air between us. Exhausting. Like I was something she had to manage, not someone she wanted. I took a step back, not physically, but internally. Something shifted. Then why are we still doing this? I asked quietly. She didn't answer right away. She walked to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water, took a sip. Then she said it. If you don't like me, you can leave. It wasn't said with anger. It was said with certainty. Like she had already decided how this would go. Like I would argue. Like I would stay. Before we go further, I want you to pause and think about this. If someone you cared about said that to you, would you fight for them, or would you finally listen? Because in that moment, I realized something I've been avoiding for months. She wasn't asking me to stay. She was testing how much I would tolerate. And I was tired. Not of her, but of who I had become trying to keep her. Okay, I said. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't tense. It was empty. She turned slowly, like she needed to make sure she heard me right. What? I said, okay. You're just leaving? I shook my head. No. I walked past her, into the bedroom. She followed me, her footsteps faster now. What are you doing? I opened her closet. Neatly arranged clothes. Shoes lined up with precision. Everything in its place. Except us. Unpacking your things. That's when it hit her. Not immediately, but enough to shift her tone. Wait. It was the first time that night she sounded unsure. You're serious? I didn't answer. I picked up a suitcase and started folding her clothes. Not aggressively. Not emotionally. Just methodically. Like I was finally doing something I'd already decided. You can't just do this, she said. I'm not just doing this, I replied. This has been happening for a while. She crossed her arms. This is ridiculous. Is it? You're overreacting. I stopped for a second. Looked at her. No, BVN. This is me finally reacting. That line changed something. Not everything, but enough. She didn't argue right away. She watched me, like she was trying to figure out who I was in that moment. Because I wasn't the same person she was used to. I wasn't explaining. I wasn't negotiating. I wasn't asking her to stay. I was letting her go. And that was unfamiliar to her. You're really going to throw everything away? She asked. Everything, I repeated. Yes. I zipped the suitcase halfway. Looked at her again. If it was everything, we wouldn't be here. She didn't have a response for that. So she shifted. You think you're better than me now? No. Then what is this? This is me respecting myself. That word felt heavier than anything else I had said. Respect. Not love. Not anger. Respect. Because somewhere along the way, I had lost it. Not for her. For myself. She walked closer. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but I'll regret staying more. That was the truth I had been avoiding. The one that kept showing up in small moments. The quiet dinners. The forced conversations. The feeling of being present but not wanted. I finished packing the first suitcase. Then the second. She didn't stop me. Not really. She said things. Small objections. Half-hearted attempts. But nothing that felt like she actually wanted me to stay. And that was the confirmation I needed. Because when someone truly wants you, they don't make it a challenge. They don't make you prove it every day. They don't make you feel like you're optional. Before I picked up the suitcase, I paused. Looked at her one last time in that room. Do you even want this to work? I asked. She hesitated. That hesitation said everything. Because love doesn't hesitate when it matters. And that was the moment I understood something clearly. She didn't want to lose me, but she didn't want to choose me either. And those are not the same thing. I carried the suitcase to the door. She followed, slower now, less certain. You're really doing this, she said. I am. And that's it. That's it. She stood there, not crying, not angry, just processing, like she was finally realizing the consequences of something she never thought would happen. Because people like Vivian don't expect finality. They expect flexibility. They expect you to bend, to adjust, to stay. But I didn't. I opened the door, set the suitcase outside. Then the second. She stepped closer. Nolan. I stopped. Not because she said my name, but because of how she said it. For the first time in a long time, it sounded real. Not sharp, not dismissive, just real. Yes. We could talk about this. I nodded slowly. We've been talking. That's not what I mean. I know. She looked at me like she wanted me to say something else. Something that would give her control back. Something that would reset everything. But I didn't. Because this wasn't about winning. It wasn't about proving a point. It was about ending something that had already been ending for a long time. Take care of yourself, Vivian, I said. And then I stepped back. Gave her space to leave. She picked up the suitcase. Not gracefully. Not confidently. Just quietly. Before we go further, ask yourself this. Would you have stopped her at that moment? Or would you have done exactly what I did? Because that decision says more about you than you think. She walked out, not looking back. And just like that, the townhouse felt different. Not empty, but honest. For the first time in a long time, everything in that space matched what it actually was. Quiet, still, uncomplicated. I didn't feel relief immediately. That came later. At first, there was just silence, and the realization that I had chosen something difficult over something familiar. That night, I sat on a couch. No TV, no music, just stillness. And in that stillness, something unexpected happened. I didn't feel like I had lost something. I felt like I had stopped losing myself. Days passed, then weeks. There were moments where I thought about texting her. Not because I missed her, but because I missed the routine, the familiarity, the illusion of stability. But I didn't, because I knew the difference now. Between connection and habit. Between love and attachment. Between staying because you want to and staying because you're afraid to leave. And once you see that difference, you can't unsee it. Months later, I ran into her at a gallery opening. She looked the same, composed, put together, but something about her felt different, less certain. We exchanged a brief conversation, polite, distant, like two people who once knew each other very well and now didn't. You look good, she said. You too. There was a pause, the kind that used to feel heavy, but now felt neutral. I didn't think you'd actually do it, she admitted. I know. She looked at me, searching for something. Maybe validation. Maybe regret. Maybe a version of me that no longer existed. Do you ever think about it? She asked. Sometimes. And I thought about it. Not the relationship, but the moment, the choice, the shift. I think it needed to happen. She nodded, not agreeing, but understanding. And that was enough. Because closure doesn't always come from getting answers. Sometimes it comes from becoming someone who no longer needs them.